Hi, guys. Today I'm going to talk about whether or not your divine masculine or your person or your ex or whoever you're here for deserves your forgiveness. That is a question that even if you don't ask in your conscious mind, your subconscious might be busy with as you're trying to heal from an abusive relationship or sort of a connection that caused you a lot of hurt and pain, or somebody did you wrong and throw you into a whirlwind of self-discovery and growth and that you is usually accompanied with a lot of pain. What is the most important thing in forgiving someone? What to recognize is, and I'm sure you've heard it everywhere else, that you don't quite forgive someone for them. And another important thing that comes to mind, especially if you have come from sort of a background that in it forgiveness means giving chances. That was kind of my background and the background of many older cultures or traditions where forgiving someone means forgetting, basically, or closing your eyes on the problem, or giving that person another chance to do whatever. Or maybe a lot of times not even bring it up or say anything about the hurt or the mistakes or the problem. But fact is, forgiveness is not an act that you do towards someone else. It's usually, even if you're forgiving someone, it's something that you do for yourself. You can forgive a person that hurt you even without talking to them. You don't even need to express to a person that you forgave them. It's something, it's a feeling, it's a decision, it's a choice that happens in your heart for you, in order to heal the pain, in order to come to a place of acceptance and understanding that that hurt happened for a reason. Whether you had a role in it or whether it was just some kind of pain or hurt that was brought to you by someone else, or and the degree of that hurt matters also in how easily or how quickly you can forgive someone. Victims of physical and mental abuse might have a very much harder time to be able to forgive and move on from that kind of abuse compared to someone that just did you wrong on a daily basis, or lie to you, or it was a smaller act, basically. People that have been exposed to a chronic series of abuse or abusive behavior, as I understand, or as I have experienced also, it is a lot harder for them to come to a point in time and to come to a certain level of peace, or you can look at things from a higher viewpoint and pretty much look from outside the box, look from outside within into the situation, and be able to accept what happened and forgive yourself and the person that caused you that hurt. What is very important to remember is that we don't forgive for the other party. Even if we forgive them, like I said, it's to get yourself to a better place. What I have noticed in a lot of the readings and the talks that's going on about the twin flame journey, because the twin flame journey is a very painful, hurtful journey, and it's just the title. Any spiritual journey that is bringing up a lot of hurt and sets you into a path of growth, it is a very painful journey, because it makes you face your shadows. It makes you deal with old wounds. If you believe in past lives, that it brings all the past life wounds and karma that you have to deal with. You can run from it. You may choose to close your eyes on it, but the universe and the forces, if you're on this path, it's like being in a stream of, it's being in a flood. It's like being in a stream. It pushes you down that path. You can just delay it, but you can't avoid it. So if you're in a connection that, whether it's twin flame or soulmate or spiritual, whatever you call it, that causes you to get into self-discovery and makes you have to face your old wounds, your childhood wounds, your karma, karmic cycles and all that, when it comes with so much dealing with so much baggage and so much goo and so much past trouble, that is a very painful connection usually, and a lot of hurt is caused to both people in that journey. And usually one person is more spiritual than the other one, and the person that is more spiritual or more empathic gets hurt more, or gets hurt in the beginning. And part of the growth that I'm just talking about is to be able to forgive yourself and the person that caused you all that pain. And to me, doing that was by understanding and accepting that I am in this journey for a reason. Once you come out of the dark night of soul, or once you come out of that dark tunnel of dealing with your shadow side and working on your shadow self, dark side of yourself, once you come out of that tunnel into the light, you feel so light and so uplifted and so high vibe, that none of the hurt that you went through matters anymore. And I believe that's the point, that you look at the ground you covered and you tell yourself, wow, I came a long way. And when you look into your heart, you suddenly don't feel the pain anymore. And that is the best feeling that you can have in all your life. It's basically, to me, it felt like not having showered for days or weeks, and suddenly being able to wash off all the dirt and the sweat and the nastiness. And I have that feeling because I love camping, and I love going into the nature, and sometimes campsites don't always have a nice shower or easily available sanitary items and all that. Like especially if you're into backpacking and going into areas that don't have electricity or water, then you know that for the length of time you're there, there is no access to a nice shower or to warm water or what. So the feeling of coming out of the dark night of the soul or dealing with shadow work was just like the feeling of getting home after a long camping trip and washing away all the mud and the dirt and the goo and I don't know the dead bugs in your hair and washing all that off and coming out of the shower feeling fresh and alive and clean. And or just a nice cold shower after a workout. We all can relate to that. Or a nice cold shower after a very muggy summer day. It's that feeling of freshness and rebirth. And I think that's the point where you can look back at all the hurt that was caused to you or brought to you by the other party or the other people involved, and I think that's the point that you're ready to forgive. Because no matter how many times you tell yourself, "Oh, I forgive this person," if you think back at their actions and what they brought to you and what's been told and all the drama and all the trouble that you dealt with that person, and you feel hurt in your heart, it is, or if you resent that person, you haven't really forgiven, or you haven't really healed. So if you're at a point in your life or in your connection, in your journey, that your heart is still aching when you look back at and what happened to you and the kind of abuse you had to sit through or live through, or the kind of hurt that was caused to you by somebody else, and you resent them, or you want them or wish them ill, or if you want the universe to show them their karma, or if you want revenge on them, or all that, this is a good point to forgive as well, because forgiveness will release you from that karmic cycle. It's basically like signing off and leaving a contract, basically. It's a beginning point of a healing. It could also be that you forgive someone after you healed, but for me, deciding that I wanted to forgive a person that hurt me was that it set me on a healing journey. And now, after having covered a lot of ground with my healing work, I can look back and say, yeah, I have forgiven him. But what a lot of people misunderstand about forgiveness is that the other person has to ask for it, or that if you forgive them, it means that you're okay with what they did to you, or that it could send out the signal that you're okay with what they did to you, or that what they did to you was not a big deal, or that it is okay for them to come back and you forgot what happened to you, and now everything can go back to normal. I feel like these three are the main reasons why people have a hard time forgiving someone that hurt them or abused them. The fact that the person never apologized is one major reason where people can't forgive, because the other party that caused so much pain never felt sorry for it. They never said sorry for it. They never tried to make up for it. Or they could still be keeping on going the same way and keep hurting that you or the people around you. So one major reason for not being able to forgive is where you see no remorse in the other party. When they're not sorry, or if they are, they're not brave enough to say it, or they're not ready to make up for it, or if they're not showing any sign of ever wanting to apologize. The next reason for not being able to forgive is, like I said, the misconception that if you forgive it makes whatever happened to you seem okay. And that is not true. Abuse is never okay. It's never accepted. It's never. It could be hidden, but it will never be okay once it's seen or once it's realized. And I can totally understand that, especially if you communicate that you forgave someone that abused you, you're afraid that you send a signal that what they did to you was okay, or that you're reducing the harshness of their actions, or that you're telling them basically that you were not hurt by their actions or any of these reasons. Again, that is a reason for why people have a hard time forgiving, but it's not true. It's just a misunderstanding of what forgiveness is and what it is for. And the third reason, like I mentioned, is the misunderstanding that forgiving someone means they can come back, or they can have another chance, or they can continue doing what they're doing. And that is not the case either. That is just a fear that a lot of people have, and they hold on to grudges and low vibe energies and anger and resentment, fearing that if they forgive, it means the other person, it's like a green light for the other person to come in and continue with the abuse or with the hurt that they cause. Especially if you're dealing with a narcissist, or if you're in a spiritual relationship with a counterpart that is also working on their shadow side, that is working on their wounds and on their nasty baggage that they have to deal with. Because if somebody is in a low vibe, ugly spot in their life, they will spread that ugliness into your life as well. Energy is fluid. It transfers from one person to another. If you're in a down energy, if you're in a sad, dark moment in your life, that's all you have. That's where your energy level is at. So you either become an energy vampire, and that's what usually the masculines in these journeys are. They're usually very they hold on to 3D lifestyle, and they're not very spiritual. They're very stubborn. They don't want to work on themselves, so they hold on to low vibe energy, and they suck up your energy, and they abuse you, and they use you, and they use your energy to lift themselves up, but they have nothing to give because the darkness is where they are. You can't extract light from darkness. So these people keep hurting you. They keep dragging you through the mud. They keep stealing your energy and run. The importance of forgiveness in these scenarios is that you can cut yourself off from their energy and their life and their karma. There are some videos on YouTube that talk about cord cutting for twin flame relationships, or any relationship that you feel you're bound to another person. And these binds are the binding is usually through attachments, karmic attachments. And karma comes from repeating cycles of some lesson that you're supposed to learn and you're not learning, and that piles up your karma. So one major way to I never looked into those cord cutting videos. Some of them are just by telling yourself that you're cutting the cord and practicing whatever. Some of them are with candle magic, and I'm really not into that kind of stuff. Even though I believe the power of your mind can help disconnecting or releasing your person. But to me, the biggest factor that helped me detach and release my person was forgiveness. You forgive someone so you can let go. You forgive them so you can have a peace of mind for yourself. What I did, and I think would help you out there, is I had a conversation with myself. Just like I record my voice now to post here, so I write a lot, and I also record my voice as if I'm talking to someone, which is my inner person or my higher self or my inner child, depending on what I'm trying to heal. And I recovered all the memories of hurt, and I try to understand why that hurtful thing happened to me. Why on that day this thing was said? Why did that person do this to me? Why did they act a certain way? Why did they not show up? Why did they not give or behave in a certain way that I deserved? And a lot of it, as you start opening up to yourself, as you start looking at your life like a movie from the outside, not from being involved in it, then you start seeing a lot of areas where you didn't love yourself, most likely, because when someone brings you hurt, you allow them. And that is the one biggest mistake for people that live through abuse, is not recognizing the abuse or recognizing it and allowing it. So I had to forgive myself before forgiving him for allowing him to repeat behavior that was hurtful to me, or to put myself into situations that I would be the target of his tantrums where it wasn't even about me, or to be there for him to support him through karma and ugly an ugly karmic cycle that wasn't even mine. It was his to deal with. And my support was not healthy for me because I was exposing myself and my energy to an unhealthy, toxic situation that had nothing to do with me, basically. And that comes with all empaths, that you want to be out there, you want to be supportive, you want to be helpful, you see the good in people. So if you see someone that you care about in a bad spot, you want to help them out if you're an empath. But what a lot of empaths, including me in those days, don't realize is you're exposing yourself to that kind of toxicity. So your high level energy, your loving, supportive energy is exposed to a lot of drama and trauma and nastiness that is unnecessary, really, for your life. And by doing that, you're bringing yourself into an environment that basically kills you. So I had to forgive myself before anything. I had to forgive myself and tell myself that I did not know. I meant well. I was trying to help. I was trying to be the good person in there. And I forgave myself for loving somebody else more than loving myself, and letting my inner child and the innocent part of my soul to sit through manipulation and drama and low vibe energies and toxicity that was in another environment that I had nothing to do with. After understanding my part, it comes to understanding his part. Then I start looking at why did he do all that? Even if I didn't understand, I always told myself one thing, that it is his karma. It is his lesson. It's not, a relationship is between two people, and sometimes you have the same lesson to learn, and sometimes you have different things to learn. And that abusive behavior, that toxic environment, that karmic cycle was his lesson too. And he had to learn a certain bunch of things. He had to experience a certain bunch of things. Maybe he had to see that love exists in me getting myself involved. Maybe a lot of maybes, depending on your situation. You try to understand, and if, even like I said, even if you don't understand why somebody did something, you can still tell yourself, or make yourself accept that person and what happened as something that needed to happen between the both of you. And you took your lesson of self-love and self-forgiveness, and you walk out of it and hope that the other person also got their lessons, and that you might have been their lesson too, or that situation or that abusive behavior was your lesson and that person was your teacher. And that is, in a lot of scenarios, I couldn't understand why somebody would treat me, who was trying to be loving and supportive and compassionate, in such a low vibe way. But I took it as my lesson. I forgave myself for putting myself in a toxic environment, and I forgave him by understanding and accepting that this part of my life was to teach me to love myself more, to take care of my inner child, and not exposing her to scenarios where she could get hurt, where she could get abused, where she could get disrespected, where she could get emotional backlash and all kind of toxic behavior from somebody that she is trying to provide for. So your person may never ask for it, but by forgiving them, you release yourself from their story. You give yourself the closure that the other person is not giving you, especially if you are in a narcissistic relationship or connection. A narcissist will never give you closure, because as a narcissistic supply, you will always need to be out there for them to come back and take from. So a narcissist will never totally close a book or a cycle with you, for keeping that slight chance that someday they might need something from you. So they don't close the door. In order to get closure with a narcissistic partner or connection or love interest or whoever that person is, even if they are not diagnosed as a narcissist, and their behavior seems narcissistic and selfish and abusive, you need to give yourself that closure. You need to forgive yourself and even forgive them, even if they don't deserve, even if you think they don't deserve your forgiveness. You do it for you. You do it so you can detach, so you can release them and their karma to themselves. It's just like sending a kid to their room to deal with their troubles when they start throwing a tantrum, and say, oh, you go to your room and deal with it, and once you feel better, then we can talk. In a lot of scenarios, you, after that person is ready to talk, or by the time that person is ready to talk, you're way moved on with your life. You may not even want to hear them. You could be off with somebody else. You could be doing so well for yourself that you don't even think about that person, and they could just come back and surprise you altogether. But regardless of what happens with that person after you release them, releasing them will put you into a better spot. It will set you off into your next cycle, into a next chapter, into a healthier place, within and without. Releasing a toxic person is like dropping weight, and I spoke about this in my previous video. That if you want to, that people are like balloons. If you want to rise, you need to drop the weight. And people, their karma, their shit that they bring with themselves, their baggage and all the weight that they carry with them, if they latch themselves to you, that becomes your weight. And they keep you down. They keep you from reaching your goals. They keep you from feeling better in your skin. They keep you from healing. So you have to drop that. And forgiveness is the best way to start. Forgiveness doesn't mean that that person can come back anytime they want. You can forgive someone and not ever see them again. You can forgive them, like I said, even without seeing them. Forgiveness is a feeling, it's a choice, it's a decision that happens in your heart and in your mind. It's an internal thing. It's not a message sent out. The other person doesn't need to know that you forgave them. If it's a narcissist, they don't even care if you forgave them. And if they're a narcissist, actually, they will take advantage of the fact that you forgave them. And they would think that, oh, okay, then I can come back and take more from you. It's like, and that is the fear that I was talking about, of why some people can't forgive, because of that fear of sending the other person a message that, oh yeah, okay, it wasn't a big deal. You can just continue, basically. But the best way, actually, for in my opinion, especially if your person has not asked for forgiveness, or has not apologized for their actions, or has not reached out to show regret or some kind of effort in order to make it up, is that you forgive them in your heart, and you just don't even need to let them know. You forgive them in your heart, and you just start the next book, the next chapter for your life. You just keep working on yourself, keep giving to yourself all that love, all that attention that you can give to other people around you. You can put into yourself and into people that actually give back to you. If you have children, you can put it into them. If you have parents that are kind to you, you can take care of them. But withdrawing energy from toxic environments is uplifting on its own. Even if you don't do anything else, even if you don't do anything uplifting with your life, even if you don't immediately go after your dreams, just disconnecting from toxicity is like a breath of fresh air. And I feel it with every cell in my body. It's such a relief. It makes me feel so much lighter, and I have loved this person. I loved him unconditionally and truthfully, with all of my heart. and no matter what happens, I will never really walk back on that love. I just choose to not openly give it. I'm filling my cup instead now, and I don't regret a thing that happened between me and this person, because it made me into a it made me shape a better me out of it. It made me recognize my weaknesses and my problems, and face my shadow side. So and seeing it from a positive point of view makes you even, it helps you even have an easier time forgiving that person. But like I said, you don't have to take them back. If you want to, that's up to you. If they show you that they deserve you, if they work hard to fill your cup as you fill theirs, then by all means. But the fact of, like, the action of forgiving someone does not mean taking them back. The action of forgiving someone does not mean that they can continue hurting you. By forgiving someone, you remove yourself from their karma. You remove yourself from the hurt and resentment. You close a toxic cycle. It's like an end, it's like a full stop to a whole long chapter of hurt and abuse. And it's a point of release. So if you are living with pain and resentment and feeling that of vengeance, or if you're crying a lot every time you think of the abuse that you sat through, whether it was from a narcissist partner or a spiritual soulmate or whoever, even if it was your family members, your parents, your friends, doesn't matter. If you think of someone and you immediately remember the hurt they caused you and it breaks your heart, it's a very good time to start forgiving. And by forgiving, you release yourself from that pain. And your forgiveness doesn't mean that you have hope for them to come back, or you want them to come back. And forgiving can be silent. It can happen inside you. It doesn't need to be expressed verbally or by a text or email. You don't have to extend it outside to that person, especially if they haven't asked for it. It's a gift that you give yourself. It's something that you do for you as part of self-love. And it took me a long time to come to a point of realizing that forgiveness is for me. I always thought that if I forgave someone, it meant that that person, I would never see them again, or that person would not get their karma, or if I forgave them, God would not punish them, and I wanted them to be punished. All kinds of vengeful or very low vibe feelings towards someone that can hurt you. I had that, and that's why I sat through the pain for longer than I needed, because I had a hard time forgiving. But once you forgive, once you let go, then all of a sudden it feels like you have 4 wings and not just 2. You can totally fly. It's a very heavy weight that can be cut by an act of forgiveness. So I hope that this little chit chat talk about forgiveness and how important it is for your self-growth helps you not fear it and practice it. The more you're forgiving about your surroundings, the higher your vibration will be. And keep in mind that forgiving doesn't mean the door is open for someone to come back and continue with their hurtful behavior. Forgiving is solely and mainly and only for your sense of relief and your sense of release and trust. Leave everything that you feel needs to happen to your person to the universe. Like I said in my previous post, this world, this universe is balanced. For every action, there is karma, and if for whatever you sow, you reap. And leave your person to God, to universe, to that higher power that you believe in, and trust that they will learn their lessons as part of their journey as well. And if they cause you hurt, the universe will teach them in a very good way what hurting people can mean. Especially if that person is as spiritual as you, trust me, the universe can connect to them and make them see what they need to see. It might not happen in front of your eyes, but trust that. For me, a lot of it happened, and I could see that my person lost everything that he chose to hurt me with. And the interesting part about it is I wasn't even happy about it. I was like, it just made me trust the universe. It just made me believe in what I'm telling you, that there is karma out there, and it is catching people now. Actually, this is like a judgment day right now out there. It's everybody is, their colors are coming out, and they're facing with their karma. Yeah, so even if you're watching someone paying their karma or closing their karmic cycles or having to face their shit, trust me, it won't make you happy. It just, the best it can do is make you trust. So leave it up to the God, his angels, whoever you trust and believe in, and let them take care of it. Wash your hands off of people's shit, because you don't want your fingers to stick like it, to like always having to keep washing. That's what we're doing right now. So the last thing you want is to play with other people's karma. Yeah, so I hope this helps. I'm trying to have these informal talks, and as I'm going through my journey, I want to share what I feel would be helpful if some of you out there are dealing with the same stuff as I am. Take care of yourself, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.